So you want to start a YouTube channel, but you just don't really have the strategy to begin. Through this series that I have called Intentional Steps to Starting Your YouTube Channel, I'm going to walk you through my step-by-step process to building and growing a channel. My name is Rachel, and in today's video, I am going to share with you the planning process of it all. So long before you get your YouTube channel up and running, there is apparently a plan that you should have put in place. And I'm walking through that 12 action step plan currently. So stick around and we'll talk about all 12 steps. And I encourage you to ask any questions along the way because this is happening in real time for me. Although I'm videoing this intro because I realized that I didn't do this in the first place. I'm currently in week 5 of this process. So again, you're going to see the real-time results and you're going to see all of the failures that I make along the way, see the successes, and hopefully whatever the successes are, you can take those and use them for your own YouTube channel. All right, so I am currently at 26 subscribers. Nothing, it's peanuts. And I have content that I created with zero plan, no plan at all. And I was finding that I was getting a little bit stressed out because I didn't know where the next piece of content was going to come from, or I didn't really have a plan or a path. But I was creating content because I find it fun and exciting. But without a plan, it makes it really difficult to reach any sort of end goal because you just don't know where you're going. So I said, enough is enough. And I spent quite a bit of time researching. And the things that I would research, I would watch videos, I would do a lot of reading. I got some really good content out of some videos. I found that some were way too advanced, even though it said for beginners. And so I put it all together and I'm not going to say I developed because I certainly didn't, but I took what everybody else had kind of developed as a plan. And I created this plan for myself of 12 actionable steps to follow through growing a YouTube channel. And most of the time, I think many of us try to get there too fast. And I'm realizing that even though I'm at a spot right now where it's exciting and I've got some momentum going, I want to kind of breeze through the next few steps, but I refuse to do that. In part, I'm being held accountable because I'm recording every week my progress. And I think that's really good for me because I truly believe that if you skip any of the steps, either because you think you already know it or because you think it's really hard, because those are the times that it's easy just to put something to the wayside, then I really think that you're missing out on the foundation of the building, right? All right, so let's get into the 12 intentional steps that you're going to take along with some timelines. I don't really love timelines, simply put, because what takes you an hour might take me 4. And so if I'm telling you how long something's going to take me or how long I'm planning to put into it, you may have a lot more time in your schedule to devote, or you might need a lot less or more time in your schedule to devote. So these are really fluid ideas, but the action, the intentional steps are what are the most important things. Okay, so let's get to it. I have written all of them down, and so I am going to share those with you. All right, so action number 1, my intentional action was researching, getting clear on a strategy or a plan. And of course, this might change as you go along. When I started posting videos just because, I kind of had an idea in my head where my channel was going to go, and it has definitely taken a turn. But the most important thing is that you have a plan. So you have built out that niche and you will see a video. And once I have it, I'll post it somewhere. I don't even know how to attach cards or videos yet, but once I do, you'll see it linked. And if not, subscribe right now, and then you won't miss out on anything because you'll get the notification when I do post it. But I digress. Okay, so right, we are researching and we're getting a clear strategy. Okay, now I spent 2 weeks on this. I originally had only planned to spend 1 week. I think maybe the first week I spent 5-ish hours. But what I realized was that I needed more. I didn't feel confident in creating or picking a niche and its pillars. I really got wrapped up on the pillars, as you'll see in the video. But once I devoted that second week, things became crystal clear to me. And although I wanted to jump into the next action, I didn't, because I knew that this plan, if I was going to make it work, I needed to do it right. So that leads me into action number 2, although that was week 3 for me. The second intentional action or intentional step was to study competitors, to observe the platform. And of course, my platform right now is YouTube. That's where I want to focus. So that's what my video will be about. But if you want to have a different platform, or you want to have a variety of platforms, then that's what you should study. You're going to study the way that the platform looks. You're going to study all of the information about whichever platform it is, and you're going to look at your competitors. Again, we're not getting into all of the things that you could be doing in each of these actions, because I will post videos week by week by week on what I did for that strategy content. But right now, we're just going over the intentional actions. All right, so action number 3, getting video ideas. Of course, you're going to use your pillar content and your niche to help you find video ideas. But I think that this is one of the most stressful reasons why probably people stop producing on a regular basis. Because if you don't know what you're going to create, how are you gonna get a video if you don't, how are you going to create a video if you don't have any ideas? I spent 1 week on that. Action number 4, I also spent 1 week on, and that was looking at titles and thumbnails, and not just creating a title and a thumbnail, but really getting into the SEO. And I know a lot of people don't like the word SEO. I didn't even understand it for the longest time. But if you think of it like, what are people researching, or what are people searching, sorry, and how can you get your content noticed? That's the basis of SEO. Intentional step number 5 is outlining and scripting your videos. I am currently in this week right now. And so for me, I don't know how long it's going to take. I suspect that I may be spending 2, maybe 3 weeks on this, just depending on how many hours I have to put in. But outlining and scripting your videos is incredibly important so that you can have a nice flow. What really excites me about this particular intentional step is that I'll be able to look back at my original videos and hopefully see a progression of how they've improved over the time that I started these actionable or these intentional steps. Action step number 6 is the filming and the editing. And I haven't really gotten a lot into this yet, but I think that I'll be batch outlining and batch videoing and batch editing. So I suspect that this is going to take me several weeks. And if you're not really sure what I mean by batching, it's like, simply put, you're videoing a few videos in the course of a day or a couple of days, and then you're spending time editing. So instead of outlining, videoing, editing, you are outlining a bunch of videos, you're videoing those videos, and then you're editing those videos. And so I think for my own brain that will be a lot easier on my head. Perhaps for you, you might not want to operate that way. You might just kind of say, I want it to be one and done, get it over with, one and done and get it over with. But for me, I like the idea of scripting, and then just spending time behind the camera, and then off to the editing. I think for my brain, that works best. So probably I'll spend 2 to 3 weeks filming and editing. Then the action number 7, the intentional step number 7, is posting and scheduling. So I'm guessing this is probably where I'll be creating descriptions, because I don't really have that as a step. Maybe that might come with the thumbnail and title, but I'm guessing that when I'm doing my posting, that's probably when I'll be creating those key descriptions. Intentional step number 8 is to check out your analytics. So once we have our videos created and once we've got a batch of them up, it'll be time to look at the analytics. Of course, you're not going to look at analytics after you have one video. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere maybe after 10 to 20 videos, something like that, then you can start looking at analytics. And although my understanding of analytics is that they're not going to be as valuable in the beginning when you only have a few videos, it does kind of give you an idea of what people are liking, if you need to change up your SEO or your thumbnail or your title. Those analytics might help you during that time. And then although you're still going to be rotating at this point after intentional step number 8, you'll still be rotating back to the outlining, the videoing, the editing, the posting. You are going to start finding yourself in a rhythm where it'll come easier, of course, because you'll be learning lots and you'll be practicing lots and the skill won't be as difficult. So you will then look at your analytics and try to figure out what's working for you and how you can change your video ideas or your editing or whatever. Now, the last 4 intentional steps I think are for a little bit further out. And so I'm not really focusing on these right now, but I do want to tell you what they are because I do plan to use them. But whether or not I will actually create videos on these ones remains to be seen just yet. But to share them with you, Action 9, to repurpose your content. Unless you're already just planning to create shorts, that won't make sense. But let's say you're creating some long form content, then action number 9, after you've kind of gotten into the flow of creating videos and that is kind of smooth sailing, then you can look at what you've already created and you can take small snapshots out of there, some really important thing that you've said or a really key part of your video, repurpose it and make a short out of it. And then you can put that on YouTube Shorts, or maybe you want to create stuff for another platform. Well, don't reinvent the wheel. If you've got long form that you can create into short form and just post on a different platform, that's a lot less work. Work smart, not hard, right? Action number 10, at this point, you can start thinking about monetization. Of course, if we're looking at YouTube, I know that there are certain stipulations for getting monetized through YouTube itself, but there are so many other ways that you can get monetized. Of course, I'm not going to get into that right now because I haven't actually put those steps into place for me. So it would be silly for me to talk a lot about them. But I do know that there are digital resources. I do know that there is affiliate marketing, all of those things that at the point when we reach action 10, intentional step 10, that we can start thinking about. Intentional step number 11 might be to consider hiring out other people. So there's something really difficult that you're finding, like the editing or the copyright or whatever the case might be. At this point, once you've begun monetizing, you might consider outsourcing to make your life easier. Of course, you don't have to have a team. I don't have a team. I'm doing it all alone right now. But at some point, once the momentum picks up, I absolutely plan to consider any form of outsourcing that might make my life easier. And then the final action that I wrote down, which really shouldn't just be an endpoint, it should be throughout this entire process, is checking in. It's really important to check in at many different points. So maybe for you, it might be checking in at the end of each week. It might be checking in at the end of each month. Perhaps it's at the end of a quarter, whatever, but it's really important to do some reflection. And so you want to make sure that you're checking in, seeing what's working, seeing what isn't, where you're at, or if you need to take a break, be fair to yourself and do what it is that you need to do so that you can still enjoy this entire process. All right, if you found this video interesting or you were inspired in any way, please, please, please hit the like button. This will help me when I get to action 8, which is to analyze the data or to look at metrics. This will let me know if this video was valuable. So please, please, please hit that like button if you were inspired in any way, shape, or form. And of course, please consider subscribing. If you're just building your YouTube channel and you want to walk along these actions along with me as I video week by week by week my process, you get to see my progress, and I hope that you will share with me what your progress is. Maybe you can join in and give me some tips and tricks, because goodness knows I need them. But if nothing else, it might even just to hold yourself accountable, because remember, good intentions are awesome, but if you don't put action to those intentions, then you're going to find yourself 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, and you're still going to be in the same boat. So if you found any of this exciting, I cannot wait to see you next time.